Hi there, it's Karen Bentley here with the Sugar-Free Advantage channel, your resource for healthy weight loss and healthy living on the sugar-free, low-carb, or keto continuum. And today we're going to be talking about the artificial sweetener aspartame. It's known by the brand name Equal. It's the one in the blue packet, aspartame. That's what we're talking about. It is the second most popular artificial sweetener in the world. The first most popular is sucralose, known as Splenda. The second, as we just said, is aspartame, known primarily as Equal. And the third is saccharin, known as Sweetenlow. So the thing you most need to know about aspartame right from the get-go is that it is the most controversial alternative sweetening agent you might be tempted to put in your mouth. And that makes it worthy of extra consideration and much more careful decision making, in my opinion. The reason it's controversial is for three things make it controversial. One is the approval process is thought to be tainted by political influence. And that's an allegation. It is not proven, but that's the scuttlebutt that's out there. The second reason is that the three substances that make aspartame are all thought to be harmful in their own individual right if you have too much of them. And the third reason is that there's just a plethora, a legion of complaints by individuals who have neurological problems, neurological brain problems of one sort or another, starting with headaches, progressing to dizziness, to multiple sclerosis, to cancer, and we'll talk more about that too. But just to set the stage that this is a controversial substance, and we have lots of choices these days. You don't have to choose this one, but you should be informed about it anyways. You should know why you wouldn't choose it, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So first, let's get started with aspartame. This is what it looks like. Can you see? It is supposed to resemble sugar, but it's much more powdery than sugar. Sugar is more granular. This is looks like it's been pushed through a sieve, and I'm going to taste it for you. It's very sweet. It's very sweet. It's not an exact taste for sugar, and it has a very mild aftertaste of some kind. I can't quite put my finger on it. It's just there's some sort of taste lingering at the back of my palate. It's used in over 6,000 commercial products, primarily in diet sodas or diet drinks of any kind. It's also used in pharmaceutical and health products, so medicines and vitamins and supplements and minerals and lozenges. It's used in candies and gums and anything that doesn't require heat. Aspartame is not heat stable. That means that the sweetness doesn't hold up. It disintegrates under heat. So if you were using aspartame, you could only use it as something that you add to your drinks or something that you add to cold foods. You couldn't cook with it. That's probably the reason it's in second place rather than first, because sucralose, which is in first place, sucralose or Splenda, you can cook with it. And this one you can't cook with it. Aspartame has no nutritive value, meaning it has no calories. So, you're not getting anything from it, not even energy. And what else? Let's see. Let's look and see what's on the box. Let's see, what does it say for the ingredients list? We always check that, because when we're making conscious, smart, informed decisions, you always want to check the ingredients list. And this says ingredients are dextrose with maltodextrin. So that's a filler. That's to make it have the appearance that it's more like sugar. It's a filler kind of ingredient. And maltodextrin is like often made with chicory root. And it's thought to be harmless. Then it's got the aspartame in it. And then it's got acesulfame potassium. That is another kind of artificial sweetener, and it's used in combination with aspartame to mellow out or to mask that slight aftertaste that I mentioned to you. So that's what's in it. It was discovered in 1965 accidentally by a chemist working at a company called Searle, Searle. And he got some on his hands or on his body, and he unbelievably tasted it. Seems like you would want to take more safety precautions, but be that as it may, voila, we have aspartame. He noticed it was sweet, and the story was written after that. In 1974, it was approved by the FDA for use in dry foods, so meaning that you could package it in foods that didn't require heat. And in 1975, the FDA declined approval for use of aspartame in carbonated beverages, citing Searle's operations and practices as deficient. From 1975 to 1980, there was a huge battle between Searle and the FDA trying to get this product approved for use in beverages. At the time, cyclamates had just been banned. It was a different kind of artificial sweetener that was found to cause cancer in animals, and the makers of aspartame, Searle, wanted to take the place of cyclamates. They were very eager to have this approved by the FDA, and they couldn't get it approved. And in 1980, magic happened for Searle. Ronald Reagan was earned the presidency of the United States. He was elected, and Don Rumsfeld was the CEO of Searle, and Don Rumsfeld and Ron Reagan were buddies. And so the scuttlebutt is that political influence between Don Rumsfeld and Ronald Reagan was used to speed up and hurry along the FDA approval process of aspartame in carbonated beverages. That is what the rumor is, and that is an allegation. It is not proven true. Nobody wrote that it's true. Anyways, by 1983, Searle finally got its approval, and aspartame was used from then on in carbonated beverages. In 1998, the FDA granted approval to use aspartame as a general purpose sweetener. The FDA says that you would have to consume 21 cans of diet soda every day to exceed the recommended safety dose. Wikipedia says aspartame is one of the most rigorously tested food ingredients. And in fact, I read somewhere along the line that it was the most tested sugar alternative by the FDA ever. It's approved for safe use in over 100 countries. Other governing bodies approve it as late as 2002. In the European Union, the Scientific Committee on Food reaffirmed its approval of aspartame. So many governing bodies think it's safe. It's been used all over the world. It's been highly tested. But still, the controversies persist for this particular product. One of the ways that they wanted to get around these controversies was by renaming aspartame something else. They wanted to call it amino sweet instead of aspartame. And they wanted to call it amino sweet because it's made with 2 amino acids. This is the ingredients in aspartame. So we have this big long word here, phenylalanine. That's the first amino acid, phenylalanine. And then we have aspartic acid, that's the second amino acid, and methyl alcohol. There's 50% phenylalanine, 40% aspartic acid, 10% methyl alcohol. Each one of these ingredients, each one of these substances is thought to be harmful if you have too much of them, if they're in too high of a concentration. So let me just read to you quickly what the scoop is on these. Phenylalanine blocks the flow of important amino acids to the brain, contributes to reduced levels of dopamine and serotonin. So one of the complaints that individuals make about drinking diet products with aspartame in it is that it makes them depressed, and maybe the reduced levels of dopamine and serotonin might have something to do with this. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm just guessing. The Other thing that you need to know about phenylalanine is that if you have PKU, a genetic disorder, a very rare genetic disorder, it's unlikely you have it, but if you have PKU, you cannot eat phenylalanine. So that's the other thing with it. Aspartic acid, that's the second amino acid. High concentrations of aspartic acid create this this condition called an excitotoxin. Excitotoxin. You can sort of guess what's going on by the two words. Scientists coined that word to describe what's happening to your neurons, to your brain cells. They get overexcited, they get overstimulated, they fire off, and they get tired, they degenerate, and they may even die. So that's what happens when there's too many excitotoxins floating around. Somebody wrote that an excitotoxin is the FDA approved way to damage your brain. Excitotoxins also produce free radicals, another thing you don't want to happen. And the other major excitotoxin in our food supply is MSG, or monosodium glutamate. There's one other source of excitotoxin. It's in this cousin to aspartame called neotame, and it's 600 times more potent in sweetness than aspartame, so only just minuscule amounts of it are needed. And food manufacturers don't have to list this. They can just include it in this category called natural flavorings. Natural flavorings often has some neotame in it. And if you're vigorously looking for sources of excitotoxins in your food supply, that could be a good place to look for that natural flavoring, in quotes. The other controversy about aspartame is the many individual allegations that blame aspartame for neurological disorders of every kind. The most common is headaches, migraines, and dizziness. Less common is seizures and convulsions. Less common is vision problems, partial blindness, full blindness. Less common, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's. Less common, cancer, brain tumors. More common, mood disorders, depression, behavior disorders, sleep disorders. So it just goes on and on. And the thing that gets my attention is that there's so many of them. They're so similar. They all have to do with the brain. And they're persistent. There's even this small group. It's a very small group. It's not anything worthy of too much attention. But there's a group of people who are victims of aspartame. So if you feel like you've drunk too much diet soda and something bad has happened to your brain, you can go join that group. But the bottom line for me is when you put all three things together, the possible compromise of the FDA approval process, the ingredients themselves being possibly harmful, and the legion of complaints, I'm like, why would I want to have this product? Me personally, I would just avoid it. I would not take this myself. I would give it 2 thumbs down. But if you are using it yourself to, one or two of these little blue packets in the morning to flavor your coffee or your tea or whatever your morning beverage is, you're probably going to be okay. So long as you limit your consumption. For God's sakes, do not exceed 2 tablespoons at the max. Less is going to be way, way, way better with this product. 1 or 2 packets is probably what I would limit it to, but 2 tablespoons if you really want to push it. For sure, there's groups of people who should never, ever use products with aspartame in it, and they are pregnant women, because who knows what you can do to damage your fetus. I mean, who knows what those excitotoxins might do in a developing brain. And it's just too risky. Why do it? Don't take anything with aspartame if you're pregnant, and don't give it to any young kids. Their brains are still developing. You just don't know what might happen. There's already an epidemic of autism in our country and elsewhere. And just who knows what is the ingredient in our environment or in our food supply that might be impacting that. maybe it's aspartame, maybe it isn't. Why take the risk? The other categories of people are seniors, especially seniors with memory problems. The other category of people are anyone with a neurological disorder of any kind, or anyone with a mood disorder of any kind. Just stay away from this product. It's really questionable, and why add to your misery? There are so many other alternative sweetening agents. Use any other one except this one. That would be my recommendation. If you found this helpful, please smash that like button. It would help us out so very much. And if you really liked it, hit the subscribe button and come back and visit us again. Bye for now.